Well, my first guest this week joins me in studio, Mr. Brian Altounian. He's the CEO of WOWIO LLC. Brian, always good to see you.
Thank you, Don. Good to be here.
You know, we had a great chat last week. We were talking about WOWIO and all the great things that are going on, and we had a couple of questions from viewers of the program because, of course, for the last year or so, we've been talking to you primarily about Platinum Studios, and we know that 2010 is basically set up as a pretty watershed year for Platinum. Now, are you still involved with Platinum Studios?
Right. You know, it's funny that you're getting the calls. Obviously, you know, I'm getting the question all the time too. So, you know, I've been involved with Platinum for about the last 5 years, and I took a formal role as Chief Operating Officer and President of the company, as well as on the Board of Directors. And so I still sit on the Board of Directors, and I still occupy the title of President and COO for all of our formal documentation. But, you know, since the goal with Platinum was to really get them, I like to say, you know, get them on rails, if you will, and actually get them down the track. Once that starts to happen, I like to be involved in the high-level decision-making, you know, for the company, where the company is going to be going down the road. You know, like you said, 2010, this was the year that we had envisioned, of course, because of all of the delays with the economy doing what it's done the last couple of years and the various strikes in the entertainment industry. It's been delayed a little bit, but this was always the goal for the company, was, you know, get our first movie produced out in the theaters, which will happen this year, get a large studio picture out, which we're doing with Cowboys and Aliens, and so that's been very exciting. And now really kind of, and initially, you know, we expanded the effort of Platinum, and then we kind of narrowed our focus to really focus on this film and television to get some traction, and that's happening this year. So with that moving forward, you know, it gave me an opportunity to sort of step back and look at where did I want to do next, where did I want to go, and still have a hand in over, you know, on the bigger picture side of things, what was happening with Platinum Studios as we look at new, you know, financing opportunities and new, you know, financing arrangements and kind of where the company is going to its next level. I'm still involved at that level, but, you know, when I had the opportunity to take over WOWIO and push WOWIO, you know, again, for me, that really fits the area that I'm really good at. And, you know, CEOs of these companies, of companies in general, you know, companies go through this life cycle, you know, where they go through, you know, birth and then growth and then, you know, plateau, and then in some cases they have to re-engage. And so in some cases CEOs are really good at the birth part of the process, some are good at the turnaround process, some are good at the life process. I've just noticed where my strengths are is in the areas of startup, building structure into companies and getting them to the next level of evolution. You know, I'm on the upswing side. That's where I like to participate. That's where I have a lot of. That's where I've had a lot of success. It's where I think I bring a lot of value, and I'm very focused. I'm very conscientious about that. And so, you know, once I got Platinum to the point where we were out on the public market and we were doing all the things that we needed to do to create value for shareholders, now, you know, I keep my eye on making sure that that value continues to grow for shareholders, but then I look for the other opportunities to build and grow the next one. And I've done this with a number of companies. Some companies have been on MoneyTV, and I've been involved in a number of these early stage companies and getting them to their next level of evolution, and I've had a lot of success doing that. And so I consider my experience with Platinum. I'm still there. WOWIO actually has rented space from Platinum, and so, you know, we could have that close proximity. We're in similar fields. We have a lot of similar relationships, and so it's just it was a natural progression for me to move from Platinum Studios into taking over WOWIO. And I'll tell you, I'm just as excited about WOWIO's potential in the future in the ebook space, in the media space, in the digital space. WOWIO's got an opportunity to have a real tremendous success. I've got a number of investors in WOWIO who have, you know, who see it's a logical extension for me to have done what I've done at Platinum and then now do it with WOWIO. And so, you know, I'm expecting 2010, 2011 to be phenomenal years for WOWIO as well.
Well, it's kind of, you know, when I think of what you've done with Platinum, I kind of look at it like an analogy of a shopping mall. We started out with a little small space at the end, and now you're one of the anchor stores. From a visibility standpoint, after 2010, with, you know, Cowboys and Aliens going in production and Dead of Night being released, I guess, this fall.
That's right.
All of a sudden, you know, you're already seeing Platinum Studios being mentioned on the front pages of the trade magazines here in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
So, from the standpoint of WOWIO, and I know we kind of teased a couple of weeks ago that you know, entering the public market as part of your plans for WOWIO. So you're kind of looking to make lightning strike twice, I guess, basically.
Well, and for me, frankly, it's more than twice, because I've been with some successful companies that have, you know, gone out to the public market, have had phenomenal runs on the public market. So, you know, what I try to do is create value for shareholders by creating a formula, if you will, of what we look at these early stage companies and the opportunity to have to really have some great success. And that a lot of that is based on having very strong intellectual property, having a good management team, having a good space in a very large industry. And if you can do that, going out to the public market to have access to capital to move from an early stage R&D company into a commercializable entity and really moving from R&D into production, that's what every company wants to do anyways. But if you can do it out on the public market, you can access capital without having to give up too much of your equity to VCs and angels who really only care about their short-term returns. This is how do you give an entrepreneur who's really got vision, got drive, got passionate, and support them with every available access to capital, every available structure, without having to have them be disincentivized by giving away 80% of their company.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And so I love this process. So it's what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it with WOWIO too. And lightning is definitely going to strike twice, and it'll strike big.
Check out the business model at their website, WOWIO.com. Again, WOWIO LLC. Brian, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Don.
Take care.